Hey, what's going on, my reefing fan? March here. This is Fragbox TV. Welcome back to the channel. This is my Reef Casa Lagoona Aquarium, the largest aquarium offering from reefcasa.com. I'm going to do today a glue down video. So basically, I've decided to add a bunch of new corals to the tank, and I'd like to show you guys how and where and why I place them, because you guys have told me that you find these sorts of videos helpful. If you got any specific coral questions, please comment below. I'll try my best to answer all of them. Let's go ahead and jump into it with this addition here, which is the Dr. Fuzzy Nephthia. Now, when it comes to soft coral, leather corals, it's hard to find pieces that have two tones or two colors, but this one has a very vibrant green, almost like luminescent green base, and then you get these beautiful burgundy brownish red polyps that extend, that almost give the appearance of an acropora, except these are super easy to keep, super forgiving. I don't think I've ever killed one before. They do well in a variety of conditions, so it just makes a really easy coral choice. So this one is attached right to the plug. I am not a fan of plugs. Super useful for frag farmers like us, because we can just boom, plop them in the rack, but I don't like them. They don't look natural. This is going to be a really easy piece to pop off, because I can see that the coral is attached to this sort of little piece of rubble and then attached to the plug. So without a lot of effort at all, there you go. I got them to come off, and now I'm just going to glue this part on the bottom. If you put these in lower light, they'll stretch and they'll go right up to the light. If you put them in higher light, they get even crazier color, but they'll kind of shrink. I don't think I've ever bleached one. We have some in the shop that are growing right beside hard coral. That's what I mean by easy. Like if you put them high or low, they're going to do well. So I'm going to go with a little bit lower in here because I want to create sort of like a height and structure. So I'm off to the left side of the tank. And with not that much glue, I'm able to very easily attach them there to the rock. Really nice spot. It almost just fit in naturally without really any work. I'm using Reef Casa Superset glue. You can see it here at the bottom. We listened to your feedback, people saying the tubes were getting clogged. They now come with a replacement tip. We can even include 2 or 3 of them. So any feedback at all is always welcome and will just help us improve our products. Now, I absolutely love this coral here. This is a clove polyp. They look kind of like these little palm trees. I find that these do best in low flow, low light. We have some growing in the store in the corners of tanks, off in the shade with virtually no light, just indirect light, and super low to almost stagnant water, and they just get really long, and they triple in size, and they do really well there. So this is a piece that really just wants to hang out. Don't put them too high up because they will quickly shrivel up and bleach and turn to nothing. Now, this is going to be a little bit harder to take off of the plug for a few reasons. One, we have some growth over here. As you can see, that is a new baby that's forming, and they do this thing where they'll send out sort of like a shoot or a tentacle. Right there, you can kind of see where it started from this one. So if you don't know what you're doing, there is a good chance that you're going to hurt it. It's not the easiest piece as well to glue to your rock. It's kind of hard to handle, and it kind of deflates when you pull it. Like, the way to remove it from the plug would be literally to peel it off. Like, get your nail underneath it like this and peel it right off the plug. You may hurt it a little bit. Again, I really don't want to see this plug, so I am going to chance it, try taking it off, and I think I'm going to glue it right down over, let me show you, right down over here. It's basically the furthest corner of the rockwork. It's next to the zoa garden that we got going on. These are doing really well. Look at the growth there on our salted agaves. On this spot here, I really can't get any further away from the light, and I can't get further away from the flow. This is like the direct opposite of the return pump, the return line, and the Reef Casa wave maker that we're using. We're in the exact opposite corner. So in my quest to have no plugs in the tank, I have removed it. It ended up splitting into 2, and the baby is still attached. They grow fairly quick, so I'm not too worried, but this is what I meant when I said it's kind of hard to show you because it's so small, but it kind of deflates, so it's not easy to glue. And I'm most likely going to get some glue on my fingers, but I'm still going to give it a shot in that spot. Maybe right in there. I got a little bit of a crevice. It doesn't need too much glue. This superset glue, we spent about 6 months prototyping, like ordering glue from different factories, different manufacturers, and trying different consistencies until we found really the strongest and most viscous that wouldn't get clogged, and this is what we came up with. It's now the same glue that we use in the shop to glue all of our own coral frags, and it's pretty good value. You get about 50, maybe 50 mils for $10 Canadian, or around $7 or $8 US. So that piece I'm really happy with there. If these hermits would just bugger off for a second, they're kind of curious. Sorry buddies, we're just going to move you to the back. And I got one more piece here to glue. I'm going to do an update maybe in 3-4 months time on the tank, kind of like the last one we did. You can go back a couple of videos and watch that. I'm going to go maybe right here. So I always try and find a spot in the rock that almost naturally invites the shape of the coral. You're kind of putting together a puzzle, but you don't have the image yet of what it's going to look like. So it kind of locks in nicely. And the nice thing about these is they don't have any sting. What do I mean by that? They're not going to upset the zoas once they grow into them. The zoas don't have a sting either. That was a really bad job. I'm going to try and just stick it right there. Okay, I'm happy with that. Now, speaking about zoas, we have a new addition here, which is our Ninja Turtles. This is a really cool green with orange center, very funky, really unlike any other ones. So zoas, this, if it was growing on the plug, I would say leave it on the plug, live with it. Because I've made most of the frags here, I'm going to go ahead and try and remove it. Let's see. You never want to squish the head of the zoa, because you'll actually take the color right off and possibly kill it. I'm just trying to get my nail underneath this. I think I did too well of a job gluing it. Okay, never mind, wasn't too bad. I just needed both hands. So we have the piece now. We're going to glue this bottom. You can see where the old glue is still attached there, and I'm going to give them, it really doesn't matter because this is my zoa section and they're all going to kind of grow into each other. So anywhere you really got space, I love zoas. It's part of the reason why I got into the hobby to begin with. Just always been in love with them, always been collecting them for as long as I've been doing this. It's coming up on, I think on like, damn, how old am I? 16 years maybe. Yeah, it's been a while. And I'm still fascinated with them. I still love collecting them, and I really like growing and fragging them. You know, it brings me a lot of tranquility in the shop. I just can't say enough good things about zoas. Okay, we have one more. Now this one would be tricky to remove from the plug. This is the blue-eyed blonde beep. I'm not going to say the last word. I think most people have dropped the B-I-T-C-H part of this. They just say blue-eyed blondes because that's what they are. They're blue-eyed blondes. But as you can see, this is directly on the plug. This would be very difficult, I think, for most hobbyists to remove without damaging the zoanthid. Probably near impossible. Even if I wanted to take them off with a razor blade, it would be really tricky. So in this case, the best scenario would be just to cut the stem off the bottom, live with the plug, stick it to the rock, and then in time, we're not going to see anything because the zoa will just completely cover the rock and the plug, so it's gonna make itself invisible over time. Okay, actually I found a spot here in the rock where the stem of this fits quite nicely. It kind of just rests in place there, and it's enough of the way out of sight that I can bear living with it. You know, we're just gonna see this little round piece of plug. So what I'm gonna do to keep the hermits and snails from possibly taking it out, knocking it around, I do want to add an urchin eventually. I'm just gonna apply the glue directly to the stem of the plug, and I'll use that spot. See, right there's the glue. I'm just going to use the same spot just to lock it in place. Also, if you are liking these sort of videos, a little bit slower, I'm using a tripod, let me know. Give me some comments below, some feedback, or we can go back to the crazy shaky cam march. You know, I've been doing it for 3 years. I have no problem doing it that way. Let's see, the easiest piece to glue down in this tank now is going to be this one right here, because kind of a trick. This is no gluing required. This is a plate coral, and we do not glue them. The glue can actually harm the base of them. So just find a place in the tank where you want to enjoy it. We keep them generally on the sand bed. I have seen people put them on rocks before, but it looks a little funky. Really just find a nice spot and let it be. I think he looks good right there. Are you guys getting the theme of the corals yet? Softies, easy, forgiving. Soft corals are really the way to go. And this here is a toadstool leather coral. It's those are words. Toadstool leather coral, and it's closed right now because I just picked it up and upset it. But again, kind of like the first one that we glued, the other leather, these corals need to be sort of attached to something. You can't glue the leather directly because it'll just let go. It'll slime up and let go and go floating around your tank. But luckily, he's on a little piece of rubble here. So in my quest for no plugs, let's see if we can kind of get him off of this. I might need two hands. Voila. There we go. So we have this little piece of rock underneath, and that's really all you need. Is we're going to be basically gluing this tiny piece of rubble to our spot in the tank. Now these two hammer corals you see here have never really done well since day one, and rather than try and figure out why and leave them, because everything in the tank seems to be doing good and the water chemistry is good, maybe I just picked a bad spot. I'm actually going to bring these back to the shop, and I'm going to move a little bit away from Euphilia and LPS rather than have a big garden of hammer. I'm just going to take these off, take them back over there, and I'm going to go with some easier stuff, which is this, the leather coral. And underneath where I'm putting it, we have some mushrooms. So this, as it grows, will create shade, but that's actually what the mushrooms want. I'm going to expect them to kind of do really well in this shaded spot. So I'm going to use the coral almost as an umbrella. The way it grows is like a large like a large umbrella. Yeah, actually kind of like a coral umbrella. So off camera, I'm getting glue all over my hands, but I'm using glue on that little piece of rubble. I'm gonna just, what I do is I call it shimmy. So I kind of just shake at the same time as I push, and then what I'm doing is trying to break the glue up because it hardens as soon as it hits the water, and in a couple seconds we are good. That is attached, and I think that is going to be a really, really nice spot. And lots of glue on my hands today, but that's okay because I do this for you guys. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Down here, see these mushrooms? We had some discosomas. We got that green one, the yellow one, a rhodactis, and some blue ones. So as this guy grows out up top, he's gonna do that big dome kind of structure that we expect to see out of toadstools, and this will get all shaded out, but they are going to be more than happy in it. Okay, two more corals here, or maybe three. We have some trumpet coral, so I have this purple variety. Gonna take him right off the plug. Very, very easy to snap off. And then we also have this classic green trumpet coral, sometimes called candy cane. Same idea. Goodbye to the plugs. I hate these things. For position, I'm gonna put them about halfway up, and I like this spot right here for them. It's gonna look kind of funky, kind of like it's jutting out from the rock there. This is a piece that you can expect to grow pretty well in captivity. We get people that trade it back to us quite often at the shop, and same idea. Give it a little shimmy and just stick it to the rock. Look how easy that was. Boom. Gluing corals is fun and easy, except when you get it off over your fingers, which I managed to do today. I'm going to put the purple one off to the right, and then maybe it gives me a chance actually to put something in the valley in between. So same idea, shimmy, shimmy, shimmy. That's it. Now finally we have here some pulsing xenia. This is a piece you want to give careful consideration to if you're going to add it. It doesn't look like much right now because I just took it off the plug and glued it. My hands are really full of glue now, gluing these two tiny pieces here. I've isolated them to what I call Xenia Island. So we have this left rock here, then we have this one over here, and then we have right in the middle Xenia Island. Now why do we do that? Because when pulsing xenia grows, there's really no stopping it. This is a piece with ferocious growth speed, very easy to keep, and it will quickly take over an entire rock. So I want to keep it separate. So if I want to take it out, change my mind, I'm going to frag it. You know, it's isolated. It should not be able to pass this valley over here, hopefully, in theory, and this one over here. That's why I use Xenia Island. I would recommend the same with green star polyps and other corals that just grow so quick. When this comes up to another coral, it will smother it as it grows faster than just about all other species. It doesn't care. It is a bulldozer. Get out of my way. I'm here to stay. That is pulsing xenia. But with all those things being said, it's still really beautiful. It filters the water a little bit. It can help clean it as it pulses or pumps. What it's doing is consuming. I found that when my xenia population in small tanks got big enough, it actually helped to reduce nitrates. Now, you're not going to add this coral with the effect of reducing nitrates. It's just one of the added benefits. It's also the only coral that I can think of that actively moves without current. So if we look at corals like the popular torch coral up here, or pipe organ, that coral isn't actually moving, rather it's swaying in the current. The current is doing the work. If the current stops, it droops. Xenia, on the other hand, is different. Xenia actively moves on its own. Actually, there's another coral called pulsing anthelia that we have in the shop. It's quite rare. I haven't seen it anywhere else really. And that one is like a big tentacle cousin to the xenia. Each hand is about 5 times the size, and it's non-invasive. But this piece, once it grows on the rock, it's very difficult to remove. So how you saw in the video, some of the other pieces, I was able to really easily just snap them off the plug, kind of like that leather in the back, or the Ninja Turtles right there. Xenia is definitely not like that. It'll create a very strong foothold on the rock, and it's more or less permanent. So I don't recommend ever putting it on your main structure. I hope I'm getting the point across here, and I think that's it. We've glued it all down. Everything's coming together nicely, and I hope you guys enjoyed these kind of videos. I'm gluing the stuff anyways, whether I'm recording it or not. So if you find it helpful, I'm happy to keep taking out the camera. It adds a next level of frustration, and it's more difficult, but I also like talking out loud as I'm doing it. I feel like there's someone in the room, and by speaking out loud, I'm kind of thinking before I'm placing it and sort of asking myself questions. So I am enjoying making these. I just need you guys to tell me, keep doing it, give me the thumbs up, follow the channel, subscribe, and then come back, and we'll see you on the next episode of Fragbox TV. Bye for now.